Hello, here is the Valencia. It is a little bit dirty still. I have not run it through the shop yet, but just wanted to get the video off to you so you have a little bit to study before you take it home. So we're just going to start on the outside. We'll go through it, and then we'll work our way to the inside and bringing out the slides, leveling, all that good fun stuff. So the first storage compartment here actually has the inverter, so you shouldn't really need to do anything with this. It does have the controls on here for power on, power off, and if you need to mess with any of the settings, which you shouldn't need to. Then the Jaboni solar controller, and this is telling you the rate that it's coming in to the battery from the solar panel, and that's in amps. We don't have the battery on here, but let's flip it over. Probably have it locked up here. And then it'll start kicking up as it needs to. Of course, the inverter kicked on too when we did that. So that meter, I don't know that I'd really ever check it myself, but it is there if needed. Right above that first storage compartment, you do have the Truma, and so to drain the Truma, this is, you would basically just flip this up, flip this tab down, and that will drain it out. You have a pressure release valve up on the very top here, so if you do have water coming out of here, that is okay, unless it's a lot. But otherwise, if it's you're not using the water but it's heating, you'll have water dripping out of here if it gets too hot. It's just a relief valve, it's normal. Then your main power switch here, you got off, up or down for power, middle is off, and you usually just leave that on, and then you control it all from inside. Alright, next storage compartment, you do have the slide locks and your air hose with the air chuck already built into it. And then just light and GFI outlets in this one. And you got the outdoor TV with the sound bar. And to switch that sound bar over, you just have to put it into a digital input setting on the sound bar, and then you'll get sound off the TV. Now this one, you just have the light, but you do have an LP quick connect here too. If you had an external grill or anything like that that you'd want to hook up, that's all set up for it right there. And then just more storage and a light on this back one. Up above this main one here, you do have the Suburban exhaust vent for the furnace. It is a good idea to get some, they make bug screens for these, so you don't get any bugs, wasps, or anything like that trying to make nests in there. Then when you go to fire up the furnace the first time in the fall, it's not good. But the power cord is on the auto retract reel, so you just pull it out, hit the retract button to bring it back in, and it'll go up and then it'll drop out just a little bit. Make sure it's not too tight in there is what that's for. Surge guard, that is going to be your power transfer switch, and it does have a built-in surge protector to it. So when you go to hook up power or start the generator, you're going to have a little bit of a delay in there before it actually starts to power the coach, and that's just it checking, making sure all the power is good before it sends it to everything else. Then you do have another GFCI outlet located in here too, another light. You have lights in every compartment. And then the generator. So this is, of course, is mainly controlled from the inside, but you do have switch and breaker out here. So normally they would shut this breaker off, and this would just not allow power to go to the coach. But to start it from out here, it's always good to prime it for a second beforehand, and that's by holding the stop button. Priming it, you're just making sure there's fuel going to it. Then you press and hold the start button, and it is diesel, so it does have glow plugs. So it does take a second for it to actually start up. There you go. And we'll let that run for a little bit here while we're doing the rest of the outside. And then your diesel fuel fill is located on this side, so just remember driver's side and pretty much right above the rear tire, so you can line that up pretty easily. And then this is going to be all your water hookups, so they will get the water filter hooked up and everything else once it does go through the shop. But you do have a level out here, so you can check it from out here too, but the main part would be checking it from inside. But it'll tell you battery voltage, fresh tank, gray tank, and black tank levels by just hitting these buttons. Black tank dump, gray tank dump, those are located right here. These are just the dump valves, so once you open them up, then they will open and dump out any waste that's in there. And I'll show you where that dump is, where you'd actually hook up your hose. But black tank wash, this does have that too, and that is for helping flush out the black tank from any smell, or sometimes these sensors can read full when they're actually empty, especially the black tank. So this helps a ton with that, keeping it clean and keeping those levels accurate. And what you'd do is you would get your sewer hose hooked up, pull the black tank drain, let the black tank drain out, and after it's drained out, then you can hook up a outside water hose here. Usually they have them at dump stations, and hook this up, let it run for 5 minutes while you're dumping, and just kind of let it run and flush out inside of there. It really does help with the smell and all that kind of stuff. So just don't confuse this with your actual water hose hookup, which is kind of hard to do on this because that is a completely separate hose. But just keep it in mind. Cable hookup on the exterior here too. That's just a cable. If you got cable at the campground, you can plug it into there. And then, so this is going to be your city water connection right here, and it's on the hose with the retractable reel. So this you just hook on to either the spigot at the campground or another hose if you buy another hose, and then that'll be your city water hookup and your freshwater tank fill. And this valve, which will control which way you're doing it. So if it's going this way, you're going to be filling up your freshwater tank. If you flip it up, then you're going to be running off of city water, running off of the water at the campground. Okay. They say do not flip this valve when this hose is pressurized. So before you flip it, turn the water hose or turn the pressure off or unhook the hose. And then you do have the low point drain right here, and another low point drain, and this is also the water spigot for cold water. So this is a hot water low point drain, lowest point of the hot water system, hot water lines. If you open that up, water will drain out. I think, yeah, there's a little bit in there still. But then the spigot is the lowest point too, but this water spigot is made for this water hose, so you can hook it up to here, and then you have an outside shower, outside water hose. And it is just cold water though, so keep that in mind. Okay, and then your sewer hose storage, there is one in there. They kind of give you the chintzy little one to start with, but there are definitely nicer ones out there that are a little bit more heavy duty. I always tell my customers, don't cheap out on your sewer hose, because I've had them blow out on me using them too, and it's not a fun process. So alright, and these next two storage bays are not much storage. They're mainly just for dumping your tanks and easy access for the shop if they ever need to do work on these, because the valves are easy access right here. But then again, this is all heated in here. So this would be your drain for your gray and black water. Take that cap off, hook up your sewer hose, and then run it out here to this one. And run it down, going into the dump station. And this one, I mean, you could utilize a little bit of this storage, but mainly just to access those valves if needed. And this one's your LP tank. So you do have, turn this on and off, you just twist the valve and it's open already. This is where you would, if you're going to have your propane filled up, you would come closest to this door so that wherever you're bringing it, they just bring out a hose and hook it up to here to fill this tank up. I know some gas stations do it, RV places will do it. And the next one, it's be all your batteries. So motor battery, house battery. And then you do have disconnect up top here. This disconnect is for the motor itself. So this will disconnect the motor batteries from the chassis to keep those from dying on you. So try to make a habit of when you're not using it to just come in here, flip that switch off. Okay, then you know you won't be stranded. Because jump starting these diesels is not always the easiest. So see, the air chuck is located up top there. And then pretty much everything else in here you shouldn't really have to deal with, do anything with. They do have relays located up top here if you can see that with the camera. That's for the cab. But main thing in there is that battery disconnect. Alright, then your def fill is located here as well. If you are able to pull into a truck stop that has a def fill, that's nice and easy. Otherwise you can get the jugs of it to fill it up. And being we're doing good on time, we'll jump in. We'll do the cab also while we're here, and then we'll do a separate one for the inside. Toggle switch. This is for your air ride seats, which you already played with a little bit. And then I believe this is the seat swivel located. That one's the seat swivel. And then up front here is forward and back on the seat to slide it forward or backwards. And then the backrest would be this one. It's easier to show you like that than while you're sitting in the seat trying to do it. All right. All right. So the basics. Light controls are here. So this would, flipping it up would be your low beams, and then high beam flash. Flip it forward for high beams all the time. And the middle is off. Flip it to the middle. It's no lights, they're all off. And then down would just be your parking lamps. And then increase, decrease for your speed when you have the cruise control set. To turn this cruise control on, flip this switch here, and then set. And this will also flip it into a high idle mode. So if you are looking to warm your cruise control while you're going down the road. And then docking lights with an auxiliary output and USB port there. And then you have trailer and truck cameras, so it does have a hookup in the back if you added an external trailer camera, so you can switch between those backup cameras. Power windows, lock, and then this is going to be the toggle switch for your sorry, I'm out of brain fart, engine brake. So to turn the engine brake on and off. And then this is going to be to dump the air out of the bags in the back. I don't know if you can hear that while I'm doing it. You flip that on and off. Mirror heat. And then this is going to be for a regen while you're idling. Alright, and then the Garmin system that is listening to me talk right now. Didn't mean to do that. Pretty straightforward, easy to use. You got the power button located on the left hand side there. That's going to be for your media, your radio. You can usually just hit that and it'll switch between them. Otherwise, then you got volume, seek, and then GPS, and then you can actually hit here. Just gives you a little warning, but then you can hit search up top there, type in where you need to go, and then you'll be set. There's a lot more to play with this. Or to play with this, and take a little bit of playing around, but you can grab it off of here, sit back and toy around with it if you're entering in GPS or anything like that. Can look. I'll play with that. Next thing would be the auto leveling system. So you can turn this on right now. It's going to yell at us because the ignition's on. So it will not do anything if the ignition's on. You just got to have the ignition off. And then once it's off, you can go ahead and just hit auto level. Okay, and we have the slides in still. And try not to run around and jump in here too much, but I will stop the video here, and then we will pick up on the inside. Right, so we're all leveled out here on our lots. As you can see, the tires are off the ground in the front. Our lot is not very level for this, and this typically happens. I'm going to have them check the 0 point on the leveling system though, just to make sure it's good, but my guess is that this actually probably didn't get level. Most of the time these do not get level unless we throw blocks underneath them. Underneath the jack pads in this particular spot, but we'll go inside and see what if it did level or it's going to say excessive slope. Nope, it did level itself out. So alright, that's the one issue we do get with these leveling systems. If you have too much of a slope, and then that little excess slope light is going to light up, and that's could use blocks underneath the jack pads, but you're going to want to block the tires if you're up this high. You don't want it to be sitting up this high. It's just overall it's not very stable when the jacks are extended this far. It just means the jacks are too far extended down, really. So, all right, and the interior, everything in here is actually pretty easily operated. Being Renegade uses the Firefly system, which is going to be these touchscreen panels throughout. So this is your home screen panel, and this just has your main master lights on and off. Has all the levels for your tanks, your tank heat switch, water pump, generator start stop, auto gen start, satellite, and then it gives you your battery voltage and your temperature for front and rear air conditioners. So that's just kind of giving you everything. Does have some of the hot buttons in here to help. But as we scroll through this on the left hand side, this will give you all your main light switches. And all the ones that have arrows along the side of them are dimmable. So if you push and hold them, you can barely tell them, yeah, they're dimming. You can play around with those. And if you do master on off, the exterior lights do not go with that. So you do have to do those manually. The next one down is going to be all your electrical. So it tells you power source up top here. Right now we're running on the generator. But if it was plugged in, it would tell us that we're plugged in. And then this just gives you what kind of power you got. It's going from the transfer switch, which is that main box. Then it goes to our breaker box, and then it runs to the inverter, charger, everything else. So right now it's charging the house battery. Our inverter is on pass-through, charger's on float because the batteries are topped off. And the inverter's on pass-through because we are running 110 power, so the inverter does not need to invert anything. So it's basically just running through the inverter, passing through it, doesn't need to use it. Okay, and then the generator start stop on the left hand side here. It does have auto gen start, and this is pretty straightforward. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to get into this one here. But this is basically, you can set this up and you can have it trigger off of either low voltage on the batteries, or you can have it trigger off of HVAC load. So you can set the temperature, and the generator will start and either cool the coach down or warm the coach up, depending on what temperature you have it set to. You can set quiet start times, stop times, set your voltage, run times for all that. So just playing around with that, getting to use it. It's pretty straightforward though, easy setup that they have laid out here for you. So next one down here on the list is going to be your air conditioners and your furnace. Now, right now I just threw it on auto, but it would have been just as easy to hit cool on both of them. And then just set your temperature for the front AC, rear AC. And then down below cool, you do have heat pumps in both air conditioners. And you can use those heat pumps to take kind of the chill out of the coach. It's not going to warm it up from 0 degrees. It'll take forever if you try to do that. So it's not a replacement for the furnace, but it does help with some extra heat and electric heat at that, so you don't have to use the furnace and burn propane. So it's just another heat source basically, and it does run through the air conditioner. So otherwise, furnace, you just flip that on, set your temperature for that, lights itself, as long as you have the propane switched on and the propane on. Okay, and then just the auto setting, so you can have it flip back and forth. Next one is going to be your slide rooms, along with the window shade and awning. And the window shade is actually for that shade up top there, although you do have another button for it. And they are color coded, so that makes it a little bit easier so you know which one's which. But we will go ahead, hit extend front slide room, and that one will start going out. When you're holding the button, it does come up red, and you do have to push and hold it until it's all the way out. And it is important to be level when you are bringing these in and out, just so they don't get tweaked anyway. Once it's all the way out, you hear that loud ratcheting noise. That means you're all the way out. It will do the same thing when you bring it in. That's just for the front slide. The rear slide, we'll go back here to this panel. So I like to watch them as they're going out. And this is also very important to bring them all the way in or all the way out when you're using these. Especially this rear slide, it is a Schwintek slide system, so it's to have make sure you don't have any issues with the synchronization of all the motors. It's important to bring it all the way in or all the way out, not stopping halfway. So there's that. And you got awning in and awning out. Just, you know, this screen here is the same exact screen as the front one too. And if you download the app, which we'll get in here, you'll be able to scan that with your camera and get in there for that. So you can have this screen on your phone, so then you can bring slides in and out from outside, awning in and out from outside. You can level it. Just back on this one. All from your phone, which is really, really nice, easy to use. Just having it at your fingertips. But this auto leveling system is the same as up front. It'll give you the same error codes. You can do the same exact things, manually operate it, everything. But that's kind of the gist of the Firefly system. It works really, really well. It's quick. There's other brands out there that use something similar, but they, let's say you hit the master light switch, you usually have a 2-second delay when you're hitting these buttons on other brands, but these are quick. You know, as soon as you hit it, it's flipping back and through, which makes it really convenient, easy to use. Alright, so that's kind of that's probably the hardest part about this motorhome is getting to use, or getting to know that Firefly system, because that pretty much controls everything in here. But anyway, we will start up here. I mean, we already started, but battery disconnect is located there. Just make sure you flip that off when you're not using it. You got an override for the entry step and emergency start if you needed to start the motor. Flip that switch. Say the motor battery is dead. You can always, then you can draw off of these, the coach house batteries, to start the motor up, get it charging. You do have quite a few of these multiplex panels throughout the interior too, and these will do the same thing as the Firefly touchscreen panel does, but having them in different spots. You don't have any light switches or anything like that. They're all on these multiplex panels, which are really nice, easy to use. They light up too. You got one up top here, and this one's actually got the master on off on it, the bunk shade, floor light, ceiling lights. Alright, and then microwave's pretty easy, straightforward to use. And then you do have the Blu-ray player up top here, separate remote for that. That's all hooked up, ready to rock and roll. These two separate connections here are typically for satellite if you ever install that. And then up top here, left side is to turn your antenna power on. So like right now we have TV on, turn that off, and it's freezing. Okay, we turn it back on, and it'll catch up. Okay, so that's just powering the antenna to tell it to get signal, basically is what it's saying. Then the left or the right hand button is for Wi-Fi. So to make the Wi-Fi active, you do need additional steps and a SIM card from your internet or phone provider to basically get another data plan. So then you have your own Wi-Fi on board. There's WineGuard is one of the options. There's other options out there that may be a better option depending on how much data you plan to use. So convection microwave, I don't know how to cook with it, bake with it. I know how to use the microwave, but I don't know how to bake with a convection oven though. So that you'll have to learn. And then the refrigerator ice maker is on. And so the ice maker is off right now. You hook water up to it, flip it down, and then I would throw away the first couple batches, probably 2 batches of ice, depending on how clean they come out, before you actually start using that ice. Temperature control in the back. And then your main switches located right up top to control that portion of it. Then bathroom, you do have the high-powered fan in here, and you do have the switches on the wall for that, along with the water pump located there too. And it's just a regular foot flush for the toilet. And bedroom, you got USBs and USB-Cs located on both sides of the bed, the outlets there. And then the other part here too is you can do all the lights from right in bed, so that way you're laying here at night and you really don't want to get up to turn off all the lights. They make it nice and easy for you. Water pump too, main ceiling lights, reading lights, sink ceiling lights. And these reading lights are actually located right here. And you can turn those on or off from the switch, but they do have a switch on them if you just wanted one on. But then you can do the generator start and stop from here too. Alright, and then in here, the washer dryer, these are pretty straightforward. It's no different than any washer dryer at home. And they will, they'll run cycles of them just to make sure they're operating correctly. But they're pretty easy to use, pretty straightforward. Another panel right in here. And then GFI outlet in the bathroom. And that's about it. So pretty straightforward. Like I said, I'm here for you when you come to go through it. So if you have any questions after watching this video, just write them down so that way we don't forget, and then we can get them covered right away when you're here. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.